You're like,
oh yeah, no, I believe me, I know. Oh, you know what I can do? I can go like this.
and don't forget your support light too.
Oh yeah.
See, look at you.
Yeah.
All right, while you doing your support light, I'm gonna get this thing started.
How's about that? How's about that? How are we looking?
Now you're looking like what's the dude's name that did the 911? William Shatner. No, was it William Shatner?
Well, William Shatner was Star Trek, and well, wait,
Robert,
are you just...
Robert Frost or Robert something? Robert Stack.
Stack.
Yeah, I said Robert Frost.
Robert Frost was the poet.
He was. Unsolved Mysteries was an underrated show.
Awesome show.
All right, let's do it.
It's basketball time at the
Rubber Rim Job, Season 3, Episode 11. We're clipping the Bucks.
Clipping the Bucks.
Clipping the Bucks. We've had two strong. We got to give these dudes a. The wine and gold good guys are bringing it, man. We like. There were some negative Nancys that shall not be named, Jig, who were trying to say that these past 10 games against these cupcakes, they weren't super impressed.
Not me.
But let me tell you what, these last two games, the Milwaukee Bucks on Friday or Saturday, Milwaukee Bucks, and then the so one of the Rubber Rim Job pastimes is Jig's mic going limp as soon as we start our episode.
There we go. That's good.
Yeah, all right. You good?
That's good. Yeah. Now I can work with that.
All right. So Milwaukee Bucks on Saturday or whatever day it was. And then the Clippers came to town, and it was super impressive both games.
Very.
The Clipper game was immensely impressive because they just got done whipping the Boston Celtics ass. So we're gonna get to that, but before we do, how you doing up there, my brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good.
Hanging in there.
I'm hanging in. I'm hanging in. Just got back from. Did we talk about? We talked about travel on the last trip. So no, I've been home for the last few days. Which has been nice.
I think through text you told me you headed somewhere else too, though. You talked real briefly about Cleveland.
Well, wait, did I tell you that I traveled through Nashville on my layover?
No,
I did. Traveled through Nashville.
How'd you feel? Just in the airport, or did you actually come outside the airport?
Nah, just in the airport. It was snowy there. What the hell?
I think you brought that with you. How long were you here? Were you like an hour or two?
No, I had like the longest layover of my life. I had like a 3.5 hour layover because my goal,
like $20 for your flight. You can't.
I was like, right. I was like, well, my goal was like, I was like super proud of the fact that like of my logistical efforts, because my thought was, well, what I would do is to make sure that I was getting out to San Diego, in and out of San Diego, without any kind of layover problems. I was like, oh, well, I'll go to a warm weather spot instead of Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Midway. I hit Nashville, and it's like covered in snow, man. Like, what the hell?
It was here for about a week too. It sucked.
I saw that.
Kids didn't have school the entire time.
Yeah, you guys don't know what the hell you're doing with that snow down there.
Yeah, well, you got those guys. Like, there's certain things that I claim Northeast Ohio for, and I don't let nobody take away my props. And that's one of them. Yeah, no, it's all good. The Lions just lost, and so that kind of hurt my heart because all season I was like, it's gonna be the Great Lakes Classic, Lions and the Browns.
Bills. I would take the Bills. I would have taken Bills versus Lions.
I would have taken the Bills too. So I was deeply invested in their whole thing. I fell in love with Dan Campbell last year's whatever that show is. But whenever there's a bunch of Lions gear that everybody's wearing around Nashville, so I walk up to Lions and I've got on this or I've got on Browns or something.
Right.
And I go like this, you know what I'm saying? Like mostly Detroit people like, what up though? And I just be like, hey, like we We from the same, kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
So I claim my Cleveland sports, and I claim my Cleveland adapting to weather kind of thing.
I'm with it. Yeah, because that's a level of toughness. Like if you got that your whole life, that's built in. That's wiring.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I get it. Because once I got out here to Western PA, that was one of those things where it's like it's built in. Like you get it, you can handle it. It's part of your personality. I understand because when you get down to Florida, people are like, "Oh my god!" It's like, like when I got out to San Diego, it was like I got off the plane, it was like 60 degrees.
Yeah,
and they get down to 55. I was like, "Oh man, this is amazing." Everybody's got hoodies on.
Everybody's like, "Ooh, it's cool." Oh my god, it's so terrible.
What the hell's going on around here?
That's how Nashvillians were. If you had told me you were here for 3 hours, I legitimately would have came, scooped you, even just for an hour, and made sure that you tried something that you haven't tried around Nashville.
Little comment here. That airport was very like custom Nashville. I've never been to an airport that was more the town that it was in than anywhere else. Like all the food was Nashville. All the stores there were Nashville. They had live music at the airport. I gotta give credit to that place. Like they had what was that chicken place?
Hattie B's.
Yeah.
B's hot chicken.
I got it.
So,
I got Hattie B's hot chicken. Chicken.
What level of hot did you get, Jig?
I was getting on an airplane, so I didn't go full hot. Like that's too much. I didn't want to play the lottery. I didn't want to play the GI lottery.
There's nothing worse than having to use an airplane bathroom.
No, I didn't. Because there's no fooling anybody with that one. Like,
dude, I'm always mad whenever I get seated close back to there.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some old lady who is going to not give a shit, and she's going to blow it down.
Absolutely. Every time.
30,000
she is going to give a shit.
Grandma's going to represent.
Always, every time they love.
And
you know it's going to be her when
coming.
you see her go.
You see her coming because they got to turn sideways while they're coming down the aisle, and they're like, excuse me, and they're trying to be so nice. And you like, man, this lady's about to put it down.
always. Every time you see them rolling back there, they're not embarrassed. They have no shame. They're too old. They lost it like 3 decades ago.
They don't have any, what's the gastro thing that helps filter stuff? They don't have none of that. No. And they take like Metamucil and all that kind of stuff. And they about to come blow it down.
And they do. Yeah, no. So no Hattie. No, I didn't go for the hot. I just went. I got the sandwich, but like I got the sandwich medium, and because I was like, I need to get this, and I thought of you. I was like, well, I want to make sure we can talk about this, but like it was good. And then they had like I didn't know they made moon pies down there. I didn't know that they made what was the other thing? There was another candy. Like those are the things that I got. What was it? Goo clusters.
Goo clusters, yeah.
I got those for my kids. I got my daughter a cowboy hat. Like I felt so embarrassed, like buying them at the airport. I was having a hard time. Like I didn't want anybody to see me doing it. I was like, none of these people know who I am.
Yeah, no, Nashville is they're trying, man. They're trying to make it like a Vegas East. So you mentioned airports that feel like the city. Vegas feels like it because the minute you get off your plane,
it does.
There's casino, slot machines, and digital things everywhere.
Yes.
And the only thing that you don't see in the airport is halfway naked people and stuff. But everything else in Vegas, you see it. So like those people that like freeze while they're walking, they're in the airport. Like
everything.
Panhandlers, they're in the airport.
Right.
So
I did not see any half naked people, so I decided to be a half naked person. I wanted to make sure everybody else got that experience.
That. Thank you. I'm getting ready to tomorrow even hop on another flight, and I gotta go down to South Florida for a couple of days.
I like
it. Yeah, I'll go down to Broward County down there to Fort Lauderdale, stretch my legs a little bit. So in this in between time, we got some good ball, man.
Let's talk.
Let me start this off by saying I love eating some crow when it's my team overperforming what my expectations were.
Me too.
Right.
That's what the reverse jinx is all about, right?
Man, it's like you prepare yourself like, oh, I'm about to be let down. It's the whole thing that we talked about with Luke. Oh, I know we're gonna get right to the 5-yard line and fumble, or they're gonna hit a game-winning shot that's gonna take us out when we're right in or somebody gonna hit a bloop up the middle, and goddamn Jose Mesa is gonna throw the game away in the bottom of the ninth, kind of thing. So
Craig Counsell. Yep.
Yeah, Craig Counsell. Edgar Renteria. So here we are where we expected, or at least I did. I expected the Cavs to actually go up to Milwaukee and lose that game.
I know you did.
And then I expected the Clippers to come to Cleveland. And you know what? I'm not going to admit that I actually put money, because I've never bet against my Cavs. I did take some props that I expected the Clippers to do a little bit better. And Paul George, you are dead to me. I'm never messing with PG-13 again. I swear to God, he sucks. Every time I do something with Paul George,
Can I talk about Paul George? Go ahead.
Biggest tease I have ever seen. No, you go ahead. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to. We should like bleep out his name or something. I hate Paul George. I hate him.
You know how I made that comment before about the Clippers being like, I just never buy into them as a real contender. Like literally never.
Yeah.
They just have this like weird vibe to me where I don't care like how good they are or who's on them or who's coaching them or anything. Like they never have the feel of a team that's really going to do it.
Right.
Paul George has that same thing to me. And it's even worse than
might be the embodiment of it. Like
he's got that stink on him. Like, but even worse than James Harden. Harden will always have that stink on him because James Harden is a selfish prick. Paul George doesn't have the selfishness prick or the selfishness stank on him. He's just got that like second tier star feel where like he's just never gonna climb the hill.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
I don't know what it is. He just has that feel.
No, I get it. There's been a couple of teams and guys in the history, and usually it's guys that LeBron smacks down. And it's not that these teams, I think even if LeBron wasn't there, they would have been like second tier, like not really contenders. When I'm talking about the Gilbert Arenas, Warriors, Arenas, Larry Hughes, then Caron Butler, Antoine Jameson, all those dudes, like there was a collection of guys that you were just kind of like, when the going gets tough, like you're going to just like crap out. Like we knew he was going to miss those free throws before LeBron walked up to him and told him he was going to miss those free throws.
That's right. You know what? Arenas and Paul George are in the exact same platform. They are the exact same tier.
DeRozan and the Raptors.
DeRozan, same spot.
There was something that was like, yeah, like I get it. Like y'all are okay. But when it comes down to it, y'all going to crap out.
They're going to crap out.
Now, the antithesis of that are teams that you were like, no, they could do it. They could go all the way, and they just didn't break through. Like Derrick Rose's Bulls. Like you thought it, like they got to the conference finals and the ball bounced this way or that way, that they could go. Something weird about Jimmy Butler and the Heat.
Jimmy Butler was the next guy I was going to name. Was just like the opposite.
If you put him in a position, you're like, he's going to take that game.
He's going to do it.
You know, Patrick Mahomes, we just saw it on Sunday. It's like, man, if you even got this game anywhere close, he's taking that goddamn game.
It's over. He's going to take it. I will never for the rest of that guy's career bet against him. Just with Tom Brady, it's the same thing. Never, ever bet against those guys. I don't care if they're 50 years old. I'm never betting against them.
You got it, homeboy. You're all right. You're all right. So, so Paul George is that. So let's start with the Bucks game. So something really dope happened during that game. Are you familiar with the Oculus Quest?
We have it.
Okay. So I just got one for Christmas. I got a Quest, but I got the older one. I got the Quest 2. So I didn't
get the 2 as well. That's what we did. Yep.
All right.
Older.
I just came splurge. Like they're like, oh, you can get this one for $500 or this one for $2.
The 3 came out like 2 months ago or something like that.
Yeah. And it's not even worth it because I feel like the 4 will be out in like 2 months.
We thought so. Santa got it.
Crazy. Yeah, Santa hooked us up too. And so one of the things that's on their jig is every week they've got a courtside game that broadcasts. And I'm telling you, Luke will love this. Like Luke,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So in there, I think there's 2 different apps. There's X Stadium. You can watch courtside seats.
Ooh, I did not know about this.
And the second one is somewhere in the Horizon thing. You go into Horizon and there's an NBA thing, and they have courtside seats too.
Oh man,
it's really cool because like they have like 3 different cameras and it rotates. So whenever you're shooting free throws, it's underneath the respective basket, and the camera and the microphone is hot. So, and then the other camera view is at the scorer's table. So anytime there's a substitution or a coach is standing there, they switch to the in cameras, right? Dude, it's such a good experience. It feels like it genuinely, like I've sat courtside, and then I've sat, 4 or 5 rows from the court, like we did Madison Square Garden a couple times with the Cavs. The worst seats I ever had was right behind the Orlando Magic bench, where I got so irritated with Cole Anthony. He would not shut up the entire game.
What was he talking about?
Just talking, man. His own teammates was like, shut up. The only person who like really was like entertained by him was Mo Bamba at the time. And I was just like, everybody that was sitting around me was like, well, this dude, shut up. We can't even enjoy the game. But he just nonstop. But anyway, this feels like you're like literally just 4 or 5 rows away from the court. And it's really good because they have the actual game feed on the up there in the center of the thing. So trust me, the next game that they do, put the headset on Luke and let him do that. And I
will. That sounds awesome. I want to try it too.
And so for the Bucks and Cavs game, they broadcast that one. And from the very beginning of the game, Bobby Portis was talking shit. He was trying everything in his power to bully Bang Bang Niang Gang. And if anybody out there had any doubts, like if anybody out there was like, you know what, I'm tired of watching this dude limp around, his mobility, all this kind of stuff, go back and watch that game and really pay attention to, like, when Bobby Portis came in, we were already winning. I think we were like 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. And he did everything in his power to try to punk us. And,
did he?
And George, like, he came out and he was like, he kept putting his arms on, and Yang was like smacking his hand. Like, it wasn't like a
Kobe move where he'd get it on your left hand in your left arm when you're trying to cross.
Yeah, he didn't even have the ball. Like, and Portis was just like, he was blatantly like grabbing a hold of him, and Yang was like, but he wasn't like, hey, let me push your hand out the way. He smacked him like they should have fought. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a couple of times they almost did. Bobby Portis got.
Portis is the guy that knocked out his teammate.
Yeah, he knocked out
our guy.
What's his name?
Not our former guy. The guy that looked Amish. I can't remember what the hell his name was.
He was like Serbian. Nikola Mirotic or
Mirotic. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, he dotted him. Like Mirotic should not have played. He couldn't even see out of one of his eyes for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
But Niang didn't care. And as much as Porter was talking shit, he gave it right back to him. They stand at the free throw line, and Porter started arguing with the ref, like, why I get teed up and all this kind of stuff. And Niang was like, he just was talking shit to him. And it's something that the other players fed off of, and they didn't get intimidated. Like, I've never seen Donovan get intimidated on the court.
No.
I have seen Jared Allen. But
absolutely.
I'm telling you, just Niang's presence was kind of like what Tristan had been bringing.
We've been saying that.
A big brother / we not going to get punked out here. And like Niang was giving hard fouls and stuff. And I was like, people that are watching this from the TV, they don't know what he brings. Mm-hmm. He is our bad hombre.
Bad hombre.
Watching that courtside, hearing him. I'm talking about, he didn't let a fan say something without getting into it. Like,
really,
he was checking the Milwaukee fans. He every time Porter said something, he said something back, and he was slapping his hand. I was like, I respect that. You can be slow. You can be a defensive liability.
Chubby.
As long as you're willing to lay some fouls, and as long as you're willing to step in and defend your teammates. So
I love that.
That game, it was really dope to watch on that, but it was really dope because
you can hear them all talking and everything.
You can hear everything on the court. You hear JBB nonstop. Nonstop. And
what's he saying out there? I always want to know what JBB's saying.
Well, he cusses at the refs a whole lot. It's not something we didn't know.
No.
But it's really funny. So before the game, he comes over and he stands right at the thing, and he daps the refs up, and they all dap him back. And the moment they get a call wrong, he treats them like they're the worst person at their job they've ever been.
So he's letting them at the beginning. He's basically saying, "Hey, it's not personal," and then the minute he gets out there, it's personal.
Yeah. So like that. If anybody was wondering, and I wasn't in the arena. I wasn't in Milwaukee's arena, but it felt like you were. Like you're there for the timeout. You see all of the timeout things. You see all of that.
You can hear him
stuff.
Cussing and everything. I'll
put the whole thing. It's so good. It's really
I'll put
good.
my son on it anyways. Whatever. Man, it's not like me and my wife are.
Yeah, no, you're gonna hear some cussing for that Bucks game. Jay Crowder, Bobby Portis, and
Jay Crowder
and Niangs were cussing their asses off. So
were they?
Yeah, it was pretty fun though.
I always wanted to know my whole life. I always wanted to know like specifically what guys. Oh, sorry, my volume was bad for a while. I always wanted to know specifically what guys said out on the court because you'd hear from like Kobe would tell you what he said.
Sure.
You'd hear from other guys what Bird would say.
There's actually a Twitter feed for this jig.
For what guys say out on the court.
Yep, they do is pick up hot mics for sports games.
Oh man, I always wanted that.
I'll share it in the comments for the episode. But literally every single day they got a hot mic.
Oh, dude, I want to hear that.
Oh man, they got things like Kevin Durant and Yusuf Nurkic were bullying somebody. Oh man, I can't remember who. Somebody that used to be a teammate of Kevin Durant. I don't know, but whatever this account is, I'll share it on there.
Yeah, got
basketball, football, all those things.
Got to.
That's all it is.
Oh, I love that.
You know who's one of the funniest players in the whole league? Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards is. That's probably why they picked him for that Adam Sandler movie, whatever it was. Because you remember in that movie he was saying shit that. Remember when Zinedine Zidane headbutted
right.
That player like right at the end of the World Cup? He was saying shit that like I can't even imagine somebody not punching him in the face for. He's talking about his like little daughter.
Legitimately himself. He was like really himself on that movie.
That was him. Is that how he talks?
Yeah. No, he's funny.
Or is he funny?
He even had Kawhi Leonard laughing during one of the games.
So he's funny.
There's a hot mic. So they were at the free throw line and Anthony Edwards.
Kawhi Leonard laughing? I almost
had
spit my
Kawhi Leonard
now.
cracking up. Like
I didn't know Kawhi Leonard could laugh.
Yeah. I mean, it's really scary. It's like, it
was like, man, I heard that the first time. I was like, being in a haunted house.
So, yeah,
I was like watching The Shining.
He is legitimately one of the funniest players in the league. I'm not even joking.
Is he?
And if he can make Kawhi Leonard laugh,
dude,
he can disarm most people. He did have a beef with somebody who fouled him really hard. I want to say it was Draymond, of course.
Oh man, yeah.
And then he spent the rest of the game going at the dude. But Anthony Edwards, yeah, I think I want to say it was Draymond. Anthony Edwards is becoming one of my more likable players because of his
Luke loves Anthony Edwards, yeah.
So so the Cavs with the Bucks and Donovan rises to the occasion. That first game that the Bucks won, Joe Prunty had switched back to their Coach Bud drop coverage.
Right.
And it's what Bud had been known for because he was very headstrong about Brook, Giannis, and Portis hard dropping because his point of attack with Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen and Devin Carter, whatever the hell his name is. Those dudes were so good at point of attack, right? Mm-hmm. And the one person, this is somebody who I worry about right now, and I'm not even joking. If somehow the Milwaukee Bucks were to get their hands on Alex Caruso from the Chicago Bulls, they're right back to being a serious contender. To me, they're not right now, and I'm not trying to minimize the Cavs beating them, but their point of attack game is messed up. It's just not there. They need Alex Okoro or Alex or Caruso. They need Isaac Okoro or Caruso as their point of attack guy.
But at this point, we're not giving them Okoro. We're not giving anybody Okoro. Yeah.
Somebody just like that is who they need. And if they could get that person, then they can go back to playing the drop coverage because Brook Lopez doesn't rebound and he doesn't try to rebound. He just wants to block. He's like literally a Stanford brilliant guy. and he's just going to positionally block people out.
He
can go
about
through
angles.
the whole game and just get one rebound and be totally happy with himself.
Yep.
You know
he's all about angles and smart plays.
Yep. He's a big crybaby too. He's irritating to watch because he complains about everything.
So they just pick one. Yeah, now you got me all over this. They pick one game on that X Stadium. Is that how it works?
I want to say and so there's two different apps. They do the X Stadium one, but there's also one inside Meta Worlds. But it's about one a week, and it's just random. There's a schedule that's up right now. I've watched about 4 different games, and every time I watch them, I feel like I'm courtside. I've done the Spurs in that thing. I've done the Cavs twice. The Cavs, I don't think they're going to be on it again because they've already done it twice.
Wemby doesn't talk. I guarantee Wemby doesn't talk, does he?
You'd be surprised. He talks a lot of shit, believe it or not.
He does?
Or at least he was in that matchup against
Seems
Chet.
like Duncan. I figured he was like Duncan, where he just shuts up.
No, he actually starting to feel himself. His nuts are dropping a little bit, and he's bowing up on people. Like when he's banging on people. At that game I went to in Atlanta, he posterized Jalen Johnson, and he should have got a tech. But Pop got in his shit afterwards because after he did the dunk and he stared him down for a while, as they're running back, he's like talking mess. And Pop called a timeout as soon as I got the ball. And he was like, like, shut the fuck up and just play, go up and down kind of thing. So I was like, go ahead, Pop. It was pretty impressive to see him shut him down. So
February 2nd, Miami versus Washington. So they do a few a week. And then we got Philly. They got a game with Philly. February. We have a game with Philly. February 12th. Yeah, okay. And then Phoenix, March 11th. I want to see Chris Paul.
With Golden State.
Oh, that's right. He's Golden State now.
Yeah. But you're right. Forgot. He's one of the people that he doesn't stop talking from the time he gets on the court.
I want to see him. So he's Golden State.
Pat Bev for Philly.
Yeah, Pat Bev, right. I picture Luka talking a lot now.
Yeah, no, Luka talks a lot of shit. And Luka gets into it with fans and stuff. Did you see him kick a fan out the other day? Maybe like a week or so.
He was being a total puss, man. That was lame.
That was weak, and he knew it was weak. That's why he came back and scored 70 in the next game. So
he did. Well, he commented after the game he knew he was being lame too.
Okay.
I don't see. I'm good with certain circumstances, guys kicking fans out. I commented this on the board. I can see circumstances where you'd have fans kicked out. Believe it or not, it would be like if a fan was like coming out on the floor, words, probably not. Like, I don't even know what a guy would have to say. Here's one thing I would say.
Not when like Russell Westbrook got his feelings hurt, but like nobody was like actually threatening him kind of thing. But go ahead.
Here's the one thing I'll say. When fans are going nuts like all game, it does affect the section. Because like not every fan in that area wants to hear a fan going nonstop like that. I think that's something people don't think about a lot of the time. It is really annoying, especially if you have kids in that section and the guy's swearing and being like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even care what the guy's saying. It's just like, it's annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like when you, like, I can tell you, like when my son was out there with me, when we were at that like Milwaukee game, like he was fine until like the fans started getting all aggressive and shit. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. They should do whatever the hell they want and have fun. But I can tell you it started affecting his enjoyment of the game because he started acting up and he's like getting like all negative on the game. And it was like the fans wouldn't shut the hell up. And I'm sitting here and I'm kind of like, yeah, I could see it. I could see how people start getting annoyed. So anyways, that's my little take. Doesn't mean fans shouldn't do it or that they should get kicked out. It just means it's annoying.
So when I fell in love with the game like Luke, I told you we had season passes to Richfield Coliseum. That's hence my name. Richfield.
Right.
I literally got raised at that stadium.
Yep.
And I remember like yesterday at Luke's age, well, right before Luke's age, before I really caught the basketball Jones, I was watching the popcorn guy and watching the, like I wanted to eat
for me.
Yeah, I just wanted some snacks and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And then as soon as it hit me, like as soon as I actually like took a hit of basketball, I was locked in. And so it was almost like I was in an empty stadium at times, but then I would be aware, like we went to a game where Jordan came to town. One of the best players I saw in person to this day is Drazen Petrovic. Oh my God, this dude was good.
Man.
Like if that tragedy never happened, he would have been a Hall of Famer. Trust me.
Absolutely, he would have.
And I watched him in person in a playoff game score 40 on us. He could not be guarded. Like he was eating everybody up. I was like, I think he's the reason why we didn't sweep New Jersey that series. It was like 92 or 93. But anyway, in Richfield Coliseum, it was totally everybody was knowledgeable and everybody held everybody accountable for a good game. You know what I'm saying?
I dig that.
Like,
big time.
You knew that everybody's family was in the stands. Like the players' families were next to us.
Yep.
We were, I don't know exactly what section. I feel like we were lower bowl. It wasn't like anywhere close to courtside. This was like a GM workers got these season tickets. But it wasn't that far. Like I was close enough where I feel like I could have yelled at the players and stuff. It was a respectful environment. So that set the tone for me. And even back then, everybody knew Boston and Utah were the two stadiums where it was no hold barred the way they were going to communicate with the players and stuff.
Still,
for that to be the standard, well, it hasn't changed, but every other stadium's caught up. Like it's everywhere now. Like everybody's cussing out the players and throwing stuff and ejected and stuff.
As they should. I mean, guys should be yelling at players. They should. To me, it's all about the length of time and the constancy. You know what I'm saying? That to me is what it's all about. It's like if in what's happening in your section, right? Like if in your section people are just enjoying the game and yelling about the game, I dig it. It's like it's when just people, you got one guy like yelling nonstop and cussing at the players. It's like, God, bro,
come on, man.
Cheer for the fucking game.
I do like the way the NBA cut back on those people that were looking for social media virality. Like there was maybe like a year ago, people were doing weird stuff and recording it and getting banned. Somehow or the other, they cut back on that, and I appreciate that.
Dudes fist fighting at the Jazz Phoenix game.
A lot of stuff.
That was funny. That was funny. Can I throw you back to your previous comment? I want to throw you three. This popped right into my head. 3 things from our childhood that would have changed the trajectory of the NBA and made it significantly better. Ready?
Okay. Yes.
Drazen Petrovic doesn't die.
Okay.
Penny Hardaway never gets hurt.
Oh man, that would have been crazy. Penny was so good.
Arvydas Sabonas comes to the NBA 5 years earlier.
So you're saying those 3?
Those 3 things happen, and the NBA is a significantly different place during our childhood, and it would have been awesome.
I agree 100%. There's a couple other basketball tragedies I'm gonna add to that list.
Okay.
I've never actually seen tape of Len Bias out of Maryland, but everybody said, everybody said David Stern had that perfectly set up to never let Boston fall off. And if Len Bias lived, and then Reggie Lewis too. So Len Bias and then the Len Bias replacement was number 7, Reggie Lewis. Both of those guys died very tragically without being able to really carry the torch for Boston.
Right.
If that never happened, we would have never had Jordan's. Like he was great, but he could not break through Boston and then Detroit. And if Boston still were able to extend that window a little bit by passing the torch, because Bird and them, they would have passed the torch.
Absolutely.
Then Jordan, it's possible that the Bulls thing would have never happened. So, because I mean, Chicago, cool. It's a major city and everything like that, but he was just an individual player, you know. Like, and what eventually helped them get over the top was actually Boston getting old and aging out like that. So that, and then another one that I would probably throw in the boat for this is, oh man, I just had it and I lost it. There's been some sports tragedies. It'll come back to me.
Was it a death? Was it a circumstance?
Yeah, I feel like it was.
Was it Grant Hill getting injured too much too early?
Did you like Grant Hill's game? Because
you did like it or you didn't?
I didn't like it. I wasn't.
It was very Duncan-esque, in that it was not exciting. It got the job done. Like, he wasn't too many people's favorite player, but by the end of the game, you'd be like, man, that dude put up like 30, 10, 8.
It was very understated, yes. I mean, he was crossing cats up at 6'8". He was playing point guard.
Absolutely.
Kind of reminds me of a little bit bigger Cade Cunningham, because he wasn't like, he was a crazy athlete, but he functionally played like he was less athletic.
Right.
I attribute that to going to Duke.
Very Duke. Very Duke.
But the Penny Hardaway thing that you just said is real. Like, Penny was that dude, man. Like,
awesome.
Penny was.
If you were around, if you were a kid, then Penny was. To me, it was Penny and Chris Webber, right? Like, if you were about like explosive, exciting basketball, right?
Man,
Shaq, but like probably those three. Would you say?
Because if that never happened with Penny, Shaq wouldn't have left,
right?
And then the whole Shaq and Kobe with the Lakers thing would have never happened.
Right.
So there's like a whole butterfly effect of.
That's what I'm saying. Like those circumstances significantly changed. Well, look. I mean, I'm not saying Arvydas Sabonis that change would have. That was never going to happen anyways. Like, he was out there. I'm just saying I would have loved. Man, you watched.
No, he was. Yeah.
And the old guys are going to be the ones that are going to talk about him, because I don't know how many people have even gone back and like watched his highlights, but
he was a beast.
You do, it's Jokic, man. I mean, that's where Jokic came from.
It's Jokic, but even smarter and like committed to actually defending. You know what I'm saying?
More explosive too.
He was legitimately a 7'4" point guard.
Absolutely,
like, legitimately. And it was crazy because like he used his body. His body was huge. He was a beast.
Awesome. So, one of the coolest players of all time.
Yeah. So yeah, no. So
are we gonna talk?
We got a little bit of a butterfly effect happening because we just got news. News just broke that Garland, he's in for next game. Okay. And so after that Bucks win, we bring the Clippers to town, and Mobley comes back. And let me, because we went through this whole episode, and I said I was going to eat some crow. That might be one of the better JBB coached games that I've seen.
Absolutely.
And I'm not. This ain't. If my team benefits from it, like I said, I'll eat crow all day long. I didn't think he even had that in him. Even though it was a regular season game, I expected Ty Lue to make certain adjustments that was just going to be like, oh man, this dude is here. And JBB is here still. Sure. No, he very clearly outcoached Ty Lue. Like,
absolutely,
he had his finger on the pulse of what he's needed from his guys. And there was a little bit of griping on the board because Merrill's minutes got cut down some. And I
got into an argument with some guy today about that. Can I make a comment real quick?
Hey, do your thing and call a guy out too.
Actually, no. You know what? I want you to keep going. I shouldn't have done this. You were in the flow. I want you to keep going, and then I'll do it.
I was just going to say something to the effect of JBB deserves praise for this past game. And one of the things that I was worried about was as soon as Mobley's back, he's going to slot him right in there at 35 minutes, Allen and Mobley together, and completely change the way that we've been spacing, completely compromise what's really been working for us. Because he has a history of, in the past, oh, this is working? Okay, now I'll start LeVert, or now I'll play this person with that person again. This game, it looked like in real time, he was like, this feels like what I want to maintain. So I'm going to play with the lineups and rotation so I can maintain it. And so it played out. It wasn't just Donovan figuring this out, or it wasn't just Jarrett doing this or that. There was coaching that put these guys in a position to continue playing the way that they played. Clippers weren't that big, so that played to our advantage, because they're missing Zubac, and I think Plumlee is banged up, even though he's out there. So they're like literally their only healthy big guys like Daniel Tice. But we'll take it. We deserved it. So what did you have? And call out your guy, because I promise you it's necessary.
I will. So if I made a few notes while you were talking just now.
All right.
That are worth revisiting. First of all, you appear to have become a believer very quickly. Number one, JBB appears to have turned you around. And when I got a few things to say, so whenever whenever I want to hear back from you on this. But I am impressed by how quickly you have turned around on this off of that one game. Number two, I want to comment that Donovan has appeared bought in on his role as a primary ball handler / distributor rather than just primary ball handler and scorer. And at least one game in appears to be the same guy, which pleased me.
Okay.
That was number two. An additional thing is that I love the way Mobley was used.
I do too.
Allen continued to get the ball, which must be the way the season keeps going. He has proven himself as a guy that must be a big-time scoring option. I'm not going to go way down this road, but a big failure in the playoffs was that he was used way incorrectly. Not going much farther than that. We already did this. We did that the last show. Final comment. This is a show that came off of this message board, regardless of which direction we go in the future with this. It started off of our message board, right?
Okay.
Man, I'm telling you, when we're posting on that message board, all right, I like debating with people. If I'm debating with somebody, all right, I love a good debate, right? If I take the time to respond to you I try not to do that thing that people hated about, like that Goromoka, where it's like 9 million overwhelming points. If I do 3 points to you, okay, and it's not like that takes me 20 minutes. It takes me about 3 to 4 minutes, right? So I assume that that's about what it is for other people too. If I do that and you respond to only my final point, it doesn't take me long to figure out that you're probably just trolling me. I can appreciate a good troll. I enjoy a troll.
Okay.
I will do it as well. But if that's what you do,
you fathered a whole bunch of trolls on the RCF board. But go ahead.
Yeah. Don't think I don't know what the hell's going on, buddy. I can't even remember your name. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now. If I see that happening, I'm out. All right. I'm out. I picked that up 2 in. We're not talking. I'm going to go on 5. There's other guys on the board that'll go with you 5, 6, 7, 20 posts in. Not happening, pal. I'm out. All right. It's over. There's no more responses. There's no more reviewing. I got shit to do, pal. So we're out. We're done. I don't remember your name.
So you work hard. You work hard for this platform. Your room job would not be without Jig. So you can use your platform to go ahead and shots fired. You can ether this guy.
Goodbye.
Whatever his name is. Yeah.
Whatever the hell your name is, the argument is over. If only because I know what the hell you're doing. I've done it before. I'm better than you at it. And while I can appreciate what you're doing, all right, and you didn't do a bad job, it takes two. All right, pal. It takes two.
I got something for you.
Tangle. All right.
Wait, of course I hit the wrong button.
All right.
There you go.
So, in all seriousness, back to the comment that whoever that guy was making. He was actually making a reasonable point about the fact that there will need to be some point where JBB needs to figure out how to use Merrill appropriately. I actually don't disagree with that guy's point. I just wanted to be an idiot for a second.
Yeah. Okay.
He will need to use him appropriately, but my actual point, not that I'm some kind of master troll or master poster, I think there's much more of a priority to figure out how to win the game. But Merrill appears to be a legitimate shooter. Got to figure out how to use him whenever it gets to playoffs. My thought is, I believe we've seen a JBB that I'm willing to trust is going to figure out between now and the end of the season how to get that guy going. Between minute 24 and say minute 36. And if he doesn't, as long as he wins the game, I don't give a shit what happens with the Super Soaker. That's it.
Okay. So I got to jump in here. I have to address the first point because you said you're a full JBB believer after a game. And
come on now. I didn't say I was a full JBB.
You said I had my JBB shirt.
Oh, that you are. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You.
You're like, oh, you seem to have fully bought in. So
Go ahead.
Let me send out a message to Adam and Sir Dom and a couple of the other JBB detractors. Adam is holding strong today. Much love to Adam. Today he's been, Mirror
British
Rich
guy,
is
right?
coming. Yeah, he gave a friend of the pod. He gave us a call and had the awesome British accent.
Yeah, he was great.
Wine and gold glass wearing Mirror Rich is coming hard for Adam today. He's like, look, buddy, you better, swear by JBB today because we just beat a team. That's not me. So, like, for me, I'd already noticed that we were playing a certain type of way. And last episode, I said it feels like fool's gold. And the moment that we run into actual contenders, if we revert back to bad decisions and abandon ship like we did earlier in the season, because we started the season doing this, but the players determined that they wanted to play a different way. I needed to see it against actual contenders, and we just did it back to back. We did it on the road, then we did it at home. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, okay, wait. And we seamlessly integrated Mobley back in. And if he can, in this next game, because we got 3 cupcake coming up, if we can do the same thing with Garland, JBB is going to start winning me over from a standpoint of, what I said last episode, have the balls to make a tough decision, even if some of the guys might not like it, but they're going to enjoy winning more. So that's all I want to see. Because I want to see these dudes get better because I don't think that they're anywhere close to their ceiling individually. And they still need a coach that they can trust is going to get them to, keep growing their game. And so after the playoffs, I got to be honest, I felt like Donovan, Jarrett, and Darius and a couple other guys probably felt like, this dude's holding us back at this point in time. It was that bad of a showing from coaching.
It did seem to be happening.
So I always he's a you know what I'm saying, I don't want to make this a race thing. I root for the brothers, man. I like Tomlin, but I want him in a different city. But
where do you want
him? Mike Tomlin?
Yeah.
Go to the NFC. Go far away from around here. Go to take an NFC. Go to Washington. You know what I'm saying? Something. I don't know. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be there next year for sure. But
I'll tell you, I only root for white guys.
Do you actually think that? Like when I say I root for the brothers, do you be like, oh wait, that's kind of messed up? Like, is it okay?
No. in all seriousness, I'm gonna break this one out. And honestly, I really don't give a shit what people think about this.
Okay.
Whenever we're gonna be a political podcast for a second. Whenever people say that's racist about whenever like black people say like something like that, like you just did, and people are like, oh, if you switched it around to be racist, I'm gonna tell you why I don't care. Number one, because people aren't colorblind. Whenever people say like you're colorblind or whatever, it grosses me out because I'm like, people aren't colorblind. Stop it. Like people see what the other person's color is.
I don't
see what color somebody is.
Please
Stop
see
it.
my color. Yep.
And people also run in groups. Stop it. Like we run in groups.
It's human nature. It's legitimately human nature. Like if you put a bunch of fans in a room and there's Cleveland fans over here and Pittsburgh fans over here, the Cleveland fans are gonna gang up. It's gonna happen. It's human nature. But go ahead.
Correct. It's the same reason why whenever like people are like at a, like you just said, like when you guys are walking around on the street and you look at each other and you're like pointing to people about like the Lions or whatever.
Right.
No different with like race or whatever. Okay.
We're tribal. Humans are tribal by nature.
Correct. It's not a problem. Like if somebody, black, white, whatever, looks at the other person and they see the color on their skin and it's like you feel a little bit more comfortable with the other person. You don't have to be like I made the comment that I did. And I know you understand this as a joke, satirizing people that think that way. And it makes my absolute skin crawl when people do the opposite and say that it's racist. I cannot handle it anymore. And if you don't like that I'm saying that and you're listening, I don't care.
Yeah, no, I think it's.
Sorry.
I'm all about being honest. Like
I'm being honest.
I respect honesty more. Like I've been
Thank you.
in my travels, I've gone places where I know for a fact people have been like because I dress like this. Like
right.
Even when I'm representing my company, you know, like there are times in certain meetings where I'm like, let me button up, let me get this together.
Yeah.
Let me make sure my beard is whatever.
But I'm looking at you. Everybody's looking.
For the most part, I will. I'll walk through an airport like this, and I got my little beanie on or whatever like that. Especially if I don't have a fresh cut. And I see people clutching their pearls and like sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. And it's just like I think it's natural. Like when it comes to sports, when it comes to certain things, like you mentioned, like you're gonna root for white point guards and stuff like that. Like I think it's okay. We see ourselves in the things that we root the most for. So
yeah. You know what? I can tell you that somewhere in my life, and I don't know when it happened, and I remember, I think it's funny that you remember that I said that early on. Somewhere in my life, I stopped doing that. And it really became more, I'd tell you if I didn't too. Somewhere in my life, I stopped doing that, and it really became about the way that the guy played. Like, that had more to do with the time. That was because, like, when I was a kid, like, that's what was available. That's kind of what that's what I related to. That's what I learned. And then probably, like, I don't know around what time, I'd have to think about it more. Probably learning exposure and all that kind of stuff. If the guy was a Cav and if the guy played a certain way, not colorblind, still see him, still see these black, Hispanic, German, Euro, whatever. As long as he played a certain way, as long as he was fun to watch, may have even been when LeBron came along. I don't know.
That superseded the other
I was
things.
in. That was it. That was my filter.
So let me. So yes. And that'll happen. So like my priority things when it comes to like what you root for and stuff, there's no way Tomlin or any other black coach is going to be ahead of whoever Cleveland's coach is. So like, I don't care if it's David Blatt. I don't care if it's whoever. I don't care. I don't care if it's a Pittsburgh coach that's coaching in Cleveland. I don't care. That is not the determining factor. Like I wanted Romeo Cornell fired so badly.
Yes, I figured.
I wanted Hugh Jackson fired so badly.
So you're not going to support a person who's black, whatever, just because they're even if they're incompetent.
And same thing goes for like actors and actresses. Like I'm not going to be like, oh, my favorite actor is this because he's black, just because of that. Like Tom Hanks is my favorite actor. Denzel's right after him, but Tom Hanks is.
I'm glad you said that because I think there's a presumption that like any race of people like just want people of that race to be
just cling to that. No.
Yeah, I think it's a common assumption.
Now, what I will say is, and the reason why I said that about Tomlin is when you see exceptional black coaches, you want them to succeed. But like for you, when you see exceptional, like smaller white point guards or shooters or whatever it is that you're like, hey, this was me out there. You're like, I really want that guy to like go to this all-star game or to be this or be that kind of thing. So
I actually want Clevelanders to succeed. That's my big thing. I want people from Cleveland and just that's been my big thing for a long time. I don't particularly care about like I don't have a problem with white people. Obviously, that's not a big deal. I just want people from Cleveland to succeed and represent. That's been my big deal for real. Like if somebody's from Cleveland or if they're a Cleveland athlete. That's always been my big deal. Like I like to lay claim to Clevelanders.
I do not like. I just came to realization of this. I don't care for Travis Kelce.
He has a.
Jason Kelce.
Let me hear what you have to say about him. I'm curious if we're on the same page.
There was a little clip right before the game where both Travis Kelce and my homeboy were bullying the punter or the place kicker. What's the dude's name for Baltimore? He's like a Hall of Famer already. Whatever his name is. Tucker. Yeah. So Tucker was setting up down there on the end where Kansas City was supposed to be warming up. And they was like, get down there. And he was like, I just got to kick a few down here. And they was like, no, take your ass down there. This is our side. You don't get no practice kicks down here, which within their right. You know what I'm saying? They're at a visiting field. Tucker had all day to do those things. And he waited till warmups to try to kick on both ends. And he came down to Kansas City end, and they was like, they kept moving his tee, and they kept blocking him from being able to get his practice kicks on this end of the stadium. My homeboy was doing it, and it was like, like move to the side. Like, no, I don't want you to even get practice kicks. Kelsey was doing it. Kelsey was doing it. It was like a bitch. Like you want to fight that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would not have surprised me if Tucker would have like swung on him. And he's always been that as a little brother. Like, if you watch the documentary that was on Amazon for Kelsey and stuff, he just people are like, oh, I wouldn't mind if Travis Kelce came back to Cleveland and did this and did that. I've never liked Travis Kelce.
You'd want to see a player with the same quality of talent or slightly lesser with a different type of personality. You'd rather see Jason Kelce's personality at that same position.
Jason Kelce, that's my boy.
I like Jason Kelce too. Jason Kelce's a lot more with
Jason Kelce.
A lot more self-aware, he's equally funny, and he's more of a team-oriented guy. Travis Kelce's he's less self-aware, he's more out for himself. Also a great player.
Great player. Yeah.
Probably best all time in his position. Yeah, I'm also not a huge fan of his. I've known people like him, and I really didn't like them. He strikes me. He reminds me of some folks that I've known who didn't deserve to think of themselves like him, and I don't like that type of guy either. So I'm very much in agreement with you.
Absolute dog. So like in that Baltimore game, he bullied I want to say Roquan Smith or Patrick Queen. One of the linebackers who thought they was that dude, like, and talked a lot of shit against us.
He's so amazing, man.
He just like totally
he's fun. He's fun to watch.
So, but so yeah, no, let's all agree on that. One of the things that's really dope about the Cavs, and I noticed this every time they do one of those locker room pictures, but just in this last game where LeVert was the dog chain guy, we're like the United Nations. There's a little bit of everything for somebody.
95 Indians had that big time. Go on, but yes, I agree. I like that.
Like we've got some diverse representation.
I think that's important.
Little international flair, a little bit of everything from around the country, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like a good mix of guys that are all bought in and playing for each other. And you just see it in the locker room. Like, there was a point in time where there was like a whole faction of like Atlanta guys, like the whole Sexton, Okoro, Sharif Cooper, bunch of guys. And it was like, oh man, are they going to be like in a little subsection to themselves?
Little
click kind of thing. It looks like everybody likes everybody and like really like there's a cohesive vibe.
Absolutely.
Let's touch on this and then we're going to start transitioning, which is going to make this next week and a half really tough because it's trade deadline time. And there's no doubt in my mind that there needs to be moves. I won't get into it for the Cavs, but there is still a position that needs to be shored up. Two of them. That third big, that scoring big, that big with range primarily.
Are you calling that small forward or are you calling that power forward?
Power forward center. There's still that need. Like there's
backup, right?
Yeah, the backup. We talked about the archetype being Beef Stew or Nas Reed kind of guy.
Okay.
And then there is that rangy, defendable, like that wing that with the length and stuff. The 6'6", 6'7" wing, a little bit bigger than LeVert, totally committed to defending bigger guys and able to like guard them in ways that Okoro can't to really throw them off.
So we got LeVert. The water's boiling for LeVert at this point.
Yeah, I think it's time to drop that lobster in the water. And yes, LeVert, Damian James.
LeVert's
Jones,
cooking in a different way.
Because for me, actually moving LeVert or putting LeVert in a position where he can contribute better with another organization is definitely opening up the door for Merrill and Okoro to be cemented more in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no question for me if you're asking me today, LeVert or Okoro, it's Okoro.
It's Okoro.
And there's no question for me that Okoro does not compromise Merrill. Like Merrill and Okoro can be on the floor at the same time. The ball moves. Okoro keeps the ball moving, and that opens the game. That opens the floor up for Merrill to be more.
Okoro has not stepped out of bounds in a long time.
Is that a thing?
It was a thing.
Your bang bang Niang gang floaters are very consistent.
Wow. What's up with that?
It's here every game.
What's up with that? What's going on with that floater?
He takes off on the wrong foot every time.
Last night I made a comment to Luke about that floater because his one he does like small group and then sometimes one-on-one coaching with a dude here in town. And that guy he's been teaching Luke a floater, which I told him, I said that's a really important shot. Like Luke is taller than guys right now, but like genetically, he's eventually not gonna be. So I said, learn it now. I said it's a great shot. But then we were watching the game, and I told him, I keep saying this like every time. I keep saying, okay, that's not how to do a float. And then I'm like, he made it, but like that's not. Like, that's not. And it's like every time I say it, I'm like, that's not. So he made it, but I just want to tell you, I want you to take it like Marcus is teaching you how to make it. There's guys like that, though, right? There's guys that violate all the rules.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but then we're going to transition to close this thing down. Your best NBA floater of all time.
Man, I loved McInnes's floater. Man, a better floater than McInnes.
Well played for a calf.
Huh?
Well played, squeezing a calf in there.
Yeah, but man, Chris Paul has a great floater.
He does. I just don't like Chris Paul.
I know you don't, but Chris Paul, man, who's got a better floater than Chris Paul?
My favorite NBA floater.
You obviously have somebody in mind. Go ahead.
Tony Parker.
Oh, Tony Parker.
And it was
a great floater.
It broke my heart in that 2007 finals. And then it made me super happy when he was breaking the Heat's heart with it.
He had a great
that
floater.
Thing aged well. It was very deceptive.
It is a shot that ages well.
As soon as he learned how to put the brakes on the way he needed to and stuff, that floater became the most dangerous thing. Like it was like, I don't think so.
He's not going to be a Hall of Famer.
Holy crap! Is Tony Parker a Hall of Famer? He should be.
He should be.
I don't think he is yet, but I think
he's in the Hall of Fame. He is in the Hall of Fame.
Holy crap!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 All-Star appearances, all those championships, 4-time All-NBA with the 6 All-Stars. It would be like almost unprecedented for him to not be in the Hall of Fame. Dude's in the Hall of Fame, man.
Yeah. Tony Parker, that thing was beastin'.
Also, the MoFlo, Mo Williams.
Yeah, MoFlo, Mo Gotti. Well played. I did like MoFlo. Yeah, no, you're right.
I know you hate Chris Paul, but can I be honest with you? I show Chris Paul. I make Luke watch Chris Paul all the time. Make him watch Chris Paul. I get it. Wake Forest.
Dude is fundamentally sound.
And he's a huge pain in the ass. He's dirty. But man,
love his brother. I met his brother personally.
You said that.
Yeah. His brother is his brother opens doors and gets things done. I just last year I did some marketing work for their clinic in Winston-Salem, I think it was, for the summertime, the basketball clinic. So
what's his brother's real name?
Oh shit. I just said that. It's an initials, CJ. Yep. I was about to say it's some initials and I can't remember it. Big dude. Like almost like Mark Jackson's brother Cadillac was like big. CJ's a solid.
Cadillac died.
Yeah, no. CJ's not that big, but he's a solid.
No, I didn't say you were doing anything wrong. I was thinking about it and I was like, oh, that was sad because I love those guys.
Yeah. Oh, those And1 mixtape guys.
Yeah.
All right, so
And1s.
Yeah, we got to touch on that eventually on these episodes. So took care of the Clippers. Took care of the Bucks. We got cream puff city. Yeah, I didn't mean to say that.
Got a couple going on tonight.
Had a couple games here where we should be able to work back in DG. There's some whispers on the board talking about they want Donovan to stay in this. No. Yes, I love watching Donovan like when he's playing it the right way. But there's still
Go on.
I miss watching me some Darius Garland. And he had some super bad habits earlier in the year. He was over dribbling. He was trying to make the hero pass. So he was getting himself in a lot of trouble, leading to turnovers. The kid is super smart. There's no way he didn't just sit down for a couple weeks and not see that ball moving. Mm-hmm. If you bring Darius Garland back into this and you actually get him to play off ball to initiate, like the way Ricky Rubio used to do, you're going to unlock the floor big time. So it doesn't have to be in Darius Garland's hands to start. You can run it through Donovan the way it's starting right now, and that ball needs to find DG. Mm-hmm. Dude's jumper, man, he's just got to let this thing fly. Like his assignment getting healthy and getting back on the floor is to shoot 10 3-pointers a game, no matter what. 10 of them have to go up. Like you got to be like your Sam Merrill and let those things go. So, yeah, let's see what we got over these next 3 games. Our next, to me, and I'm not trying to like downplay any of these cream puffs right here. That next Monday, I think is it Philadelphia that we play next Monday? Is going to be the next super duper test for me. And that's not looking too far ahead, but it is being realistic with myself and saying,
right,
even we lose, 1 or 2 of these games in this next 3, the game I'm really going to gauge if they're getting better with integrating Mobley and Garland is Philadelphia. So,
okay,
looking forward to it. What are you reading or listening to right now? We just got right down to business.
Reading or listen, man. I forgot my record. I'm glad you asked about reading. I actually am finishing up Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot?
Book? Stephen King.
That's funny. Did we talk you into opening up some Stephen King?
Well, I love Stephen King, and I reread Stephen King probably every 5 to 10 years. Okay. And then I'm going to start. I should say was starting Cat's Cradle. Okay. And I can think of a couple people on the board that are going to love this. Namely one oh man, I can't remember his name. Anyways, Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. I got into the first couple pages while I was at the airport and then had to drop it. So I'm gonna have
Salem's Lot, Stephen King. This is what you're putting a bow on it.
Yeah.
And what was the second one just now?
Great vampire book. Vampire Adventure, definitely one of his best. And then Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. I can't really tell you much about it because I literally just started it.
For me, go ahead, please. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was gonna say he wrote Slaughterhouse 5, which is one of my favorite all-time books, which I would recommend to anybody. It's been a long time since I read that book. Did you ever read it?
I have not. I think on our second season you recommended that to me, and I said I gotta check that out.
Great war book.
I definitely think that you gave me that. Okay, all right.
Go on. What do you got?
So actually, I'm knee deep. So during these dog days of basketball, when I switch my mind over to college basketball and watching local high school basketball and stuff, I always try to find something that I haven't read or something that I have that was really great. And I recommended this on maybe season 1, but I'm reading it again, and it is The Miracle of St. Anthony.
I've not heard of this.
Bobby Hurley Sr.
Oh man,
up there at St. Anthony, the Catholic school in New Jersey. It's closed now, and that kind of makes this read. So the last time I read it, it was still open, and so it kind of makes this read a little bit sadder because the book covers a lot of things. It covers his commitment to these kids and why he turns out guys that end up being such great pros. They just play the game the right way. One of his current players, one of the only players left before he retired, I think he retired in 2014 or 15 or something, is a slow-mo, Kyle Anderson.
Yeah.
Out in Minnesota. He's a Bobby Hurley kid. There's a couple of other ones, but that's the one that stands out the most. But in this book right here, it's maybe 2008 or 9. It's maybe
06. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, 06. It's when they first started. The threat of closing the school became super real. So, with private schools like this, they didn't get any public money, and so they were literally just the basketball program was keeping the entire school open. But this is a Hall of Fame basketball coach. So while you're reading Coaching Basketball Successfully with Wooten, or the famed DeMatha coach, that's a public school. He never had to worry about this when he went home. This guy would get out of practice and he would go to bake sales, to whatever, bingo night, whatever.
Got to raise his own money, man.
Had to raise his own money. So the book is really big about that, but it also is really big about the fact that he is so passionate about playing the game and coaching the game the right way. And so it follows 1 year where they were
I'm
going
to read this for sure.
Follow. And I think that his teams were only measured against other teams that he had. So they didn't measure themselves against St. Patrick's where Kyrie Irving went, or any of those other schools. St. Pat's had Kyrie and I want to say Michael Kidd-Gilchrist at the same time, and they were formidable. But this dude had a bunch of G Leaguers, and they always beat him. They always beat St. Pat's. So he just played the game the right way, and then he turned out Bobby Hurley and Dan Hurley, his two sons. Bobby Hurley went to Duke.
Dan Hurley, that's right.
Bobby Hurley's now the coach at Arizona State, and Dan Hurley won the national championship with UConn last year after going to programs and turning them around, like Buffalo and the MAC, and somewhere in New York. I can't remember where else he coached at, but he ended up getting his national championship last year. And it was awesome to see them on TV together, Bobby, Dan, and Bob Sr., and just celebrating the dude, because he does, like it is like his father's, nothing better than taking your father's dream and building on it and exceeding it.
It's like you're reading my mind right now. I'd like to make a comment real quick if you don't mind.
Yeah, what's up?
So, and I'm gonna have to take a deep breath right now, actually, because my dad died when I was young. He died when I was 11 years old. Bobby Hurley was the first guy that I remember when you were talking before about, like, it's like, how the light clicks on with a sport.
Right. That was the first point guard that you were like, oh, he's awesome.
Sometimes you're at a basketball game, sometimes you're at a camp, sometimes you're playing, sometimes you're watching. And I remember my dad telling me, he was like, watch this guy play. Just watch this guy play. And I remember I would have been, whenever Duke went on that big run, right? I remember him just saying, he was like, watch him play. Just sit down with me and watch him play. And now in retrospect, I know why. Like, he was like, watch this guy play. Like, that's how you should play, is like a young white point guard. In retrospect, for real, because that's what it was.
That's pretty awesome. So your father gifted you a Bobby Hurley fandom. Like, watch this guy. Like, really watch him.
He did. So I remember, and man, every day I'd go to the YMCA in my little town, and I'd play 6 hours, like, not exaggerating. That's what I do. That's what me and my buddies would do. Call them on the phone. Hey, you want to go to the Y? Go to the Y. Go to the Y. You ready to go to the Y? And eventually, it's like you don't even ask. It's just, we're going to the Y, right?
That's where it'll be. Yep.
And then it just got to the point. I remember one day my dad obviously was watching me play, and he's like, watch this dude. And that's when it became the point where it was like, you're going to pick a guy. That's the guy you're going to play like. And that was the first dude. That was the first dude where it was like, all right, this is the kind of guy I'm going to play like. And that was the dude I played like. That's like the type of guy. Like, is that an exciting guy to play like? No, but that's the guy I played like, right? He was tough, and he was like a point guard that distributed the ball, and he shot okay. But like, I know for a lot of guys, that's the guy that they played like, because that's the guy that was coming up. And that's the guy that me and my dad.
John Stockton. He was John Stockton for college basketball. Exactly. But he like, John Stockton used to put his nose in there. And he was a dirty little dude, but Bob Hurley would do it within the framework of the team, and he wasn't even the bad guy. Christian Laettner was. That's right. You were like, man, I don't like that guy.
Pretty boy.
I don't like that guy, but I respect the hell out of him. Exactly. That's what you said about Bobby Hurley. So it was so tragic. What we mentioned, what would have happened if this guy didn't? What would have happened if Bobby Hurley never had that car accident his rookie year up in Sacramento? He got drafted, I want to say 94, 95. And within a month or so of his rookie year, he had a really tragic car accident, changed the entire trajectory of his career. Similar to Jason Williams out of Duke, when he went to Chicago and had that motorcycle accident. Both guys that you never, like, there's no telling what they would have turned into. But shout out to your pops, man. That's awesome.
That was it. That was the dude. That's why I said that was the first dude, like the first real player that we connected over. And I would say I remember getting into Magic Johnson while we were playing, while we were really watching. I remember us watching Magic Johnson in an All-Star game and him talking about him a lot. That was pretty next.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of look like him too, to be honest. So
Magic Johnson, thanks, man.
You gotta look like a mix between Bobby Hurley and Chris Herron. Remember Chris Herron, the dude?
I do remember Chris Herron. I don't remember what he looks like, but I do remember. Was Chris Herron the alcoholic?
Yes,
alcoholic.
Yeah.
He came to a camp.
He
came to a camp I was at.
Really?
Yeah, I want to say that was him, right? Because isn't he in like his 50s now?
I think he advocates, and I think he did some coaching for a long time.
I think he came to Tri-State basketball camp when I was a kid. I might be thinking of the wrong guy, but I want to say that's him.
When he was sober, he was a beast. Like he was like Bobby Hurley for real. Like Chris Herron was a beast. He was a beast.
It was him. He came to Tri-State basketball camp in somewhere in Indiana when I was a kid. I want to say that was him, unless he came somewhere where I was when I was a young kid, and I remember him speaking there.
He was a beast. I want to say there's a documentary that the Wahlbergs did, because he's from Boston, if I'm not mistaken, or that area.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked about how good he was. Like as a high school player, he was like all state and stuff. Won some state championships for Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken. And then he stayed close to home for school, and that's where he messed himself up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so anyway, that's pretty awesome. So, all right, we got these next 3 cupcake games. We got DG, the PG, returning with his face fixed. We got Mobley stretching his legs out and showing us, hey, even when I'm rusty, I still will shut down Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
That's right.
I mean, he had a couple series where you were like, that is what we were missing with Evan Mobley.
Yep.
That switchable 3 through 5, 2 through 5. Right. That is what we were missing while he was down. So, yeah. What do we I have to touch on this last thing because you said it, and your coaching props, you're coaching, you're up here, and I'm like, man, one of the things you mentioned was that Jared Allen has to stay in that role, that primary hub role, and you're like, I really want to see it. In this time where Mobley's been down, and I've been like, yeah, but I still would choose Mobley over Allen. I feel like there's a world where the two of them can be on the floor and Jared Allen can start operating from 15 to 20 feet. Not just like, oh, we expect him to shoot jumpers all day. But I'm telling you, like he's more well-rounded. He's more fluid still. They can be on the floor together if Jared Allen is not relegated to just being that dunker spot at the rim and stuff. And Mobley instead does that. Because Jared Allen showed he's got like a little bit of a bag. Like there's dudes that are more respected that are big guys that don't have the bag that Jared Allen has.
Jared's got a bag. Jared's scoring from all over the place.
He's got more of a bag than Giannis, to be honest. He just doesn't have the personality. I mean, that next gear kind of thing. But bag-wise,
he's right.
Giannis doesn't have a bag. Like Giannis's bag is running through people and expecting the refs to be like, "You got it." Like go to the line kind of things.
And starting out on the perimeter, Allen's usually going to get a little bit of help and then make some moves. And he's comparable to Brook Lopez when Lopez was in his prime. He's not too far off of there.
Yeah, Jared Allen's got a little bit of a bag.
He does.
Over these last 10 to 15 games, I was like, we knew he was like an all-star, but it was like, wait a minute.
It started somewhere similar to when I was at that game around December 29th. It was right in there because I remember watching it and I was like, ooh, who's this guy?
Excuse me. It happened. Remember the year, the Rubio year when he went down, and then Jared Allen came back and he played against like Charlotte and he had like a 20-20.
Yep.
I was like, this dude
he's always been this guy. He's he's low key.
Just kind of waxes and wanes a little bit at times. He will check out on you.
He will.
If he's not being used correctly. So
he's that introverted type of dude who's not going to force himself in. So this is what I'm saying. JBB's got the runway now to take off.
Yep.
Is he going to do it?
All right. Yeah, no, this is make or I don't want to say make or break, but you can get yourself out of that echelon of coaches if you continue performing the way you are right now. Like,
correct.
Everybody's taking note. Like, yes, New York is doing the same thing we're doing, and they just lost Randall, so you don't expect them to be able to keep doing it. But there's teams like Miami that's like lost 8 in a row. There's teams like Milwaukee where you see
that dude always finds his way back, though.
Yeah, no, Miami is gonna find a way. Yeah, no, they will, kind of thing. Some of them dudes are getting old, and there's just like I don't know, can they flip that switch? You know, Hemi Butler is starting to put on some. He's starting to put some miles on that Hemi engine. He doesn't like he has the same switch so far this year, but then the playoffs come and he just flips it. But we'll see. Season 3, episode 11. You know, we hopped in there. This is all a good note. This is my mea culpa to JBB for the recent 2 games.
All right.
This is me saying to Jig, you were right. Thank you, Jig, for the mindset going into the weekend. I was able to watch it and really enjoy the game. Brew would be proud of me.
I do my best.
Yep.
It's a roller coaster every season.
But I still got your back, Adam. Viva la resistance. Adam and Sir Dom and the people that are like, until I see it in the playoffs, I ain't budging from this spot right here. So I'm not impressed, kind of thing. Hold firm, and we'll see next 3 games in Philadelphia. Rubber Rim Job, Season 3, Episode 11, signing off.
Out.
Good game, pimp. It's like
good
game.
That was a fun one. It was a fun one.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. That was a good one.